This head chef, Slowick, is extremely perverse. Each dish is served with a clap of the hands, and guests are never allowed to say the word eat but rather taste. To dine on his cuisine, each diner must pay at least $1,500, which is more than 10,000 renminbi. Yet these highborn noble guests act meekly in front of Slowick, for if they offend him, they might become the next dish on his menu. To convey the ultimate philosophy of each dish, Slowick's obsessive behavior has reached the point of infuriating both humans and dogs alike. This top-tier 5-star restaurant is situated on an isolated island, hosting only 12 guests at a time, with the restaurant's boat providing exclusive transportation. Those who come to dine here are usually not ordinary people. There are some of the most famous food experts, Mr. Leigh Brandt, a retired official, as well as popular Hollywood movie stars and top executives of publicly traded companies. Only Tyler is an ordinary office worker. The head chef of this restaurant is his most revered idol, and dining here has been his greatest dream. Across from him is Margo, a roommate he met just last night. Margo initially had no interest in such an event, but when she heard that each seat costs $1,500, she immediately became interested.
Kidding, right? What are we eating, a Rolex?
Let's not ruin this by talking price. Yeah, just go with the flow. Let it be magical.
Little did Margo know the terrible price she would pay for this decision. Soon, the 12 guests were successfully delivered to the island. Elsa verified the identity of each guest, but Margo was not on the list. It turned out Tyler had originally planned to come with his ex-girlfriend, but they broke up the day before, so he brought someone else last minute, not wanting to waste the expensive ticket. However, Margo was not angry when she learned this. On the way to the restaurant, Elsa proudly introduced Hawthorne Island, which consists of 12 acres of forest and farmland. The island has a complete ecosystem with playful crabs, burrowing scallops, juicy tomatoes, and busy beehives. In addition to these natural ingredients, Elsa took everyone to visit the restaurant's smokehouse. Their milk is smoked for a full 152 days to loosen the protein chains for optimal flavor. Next, she showed them the employees' quarters. Except for Slowick, all employees live here because each dinner starts at 10 p.m. and ends at 2 a.m., lasting 4 hours and 25 minutes. On the way, Tyler noticed a beautiful villa. Upon inquiry, he learned it was Slowick's residence. However, Elsa warned Tyler that no one is allowed to enter this villa at any time, not even the restaurant staff. Shortly after, the group finally arrived at the restaurant, greeted by a tightly closed brown revolving door, which gave Margo a sense of foreboding. Following Elsa's instructions, she found her designated seat. On the table were nameplates for each guest, but Margo's name was not among them. In the kitchen, the chefs were already busy. Seeing how expertly they handled the ingredients, Tyler was ready to take a photo, but was sternly stopped by Elsa. Slowick believes the beauty of food lies in its fleeting moments, and photos would ruin this rare beauty. Soon, the first dish was ready. After Slowick tasted it carefully, he declared it excellent. Before serving, he clapped his hands sharply, prompting all the chefs to drop what they were doing and listen to his speech. Slowick introduced himself and shared some unique insights about food. He asked the guests not to eat the ingredients but to taste them with their hearts. Tonight, he had meticulously prepared 6 courses for the guests, each a masterpiece. The first dish was called Island, made from various plants on the island, placed on rocks from the beach, and covered with freshly frozen, filtered seawater. The melting process would impart the dish with a unique flavor. Slowick then explained the significance of this dish.
We are but a frightened nanosecond. Nature is timeless.
Margo was about to mock Slowick for rambling when she looked up to see Tyler in tears. Tyler was so moved that he wanted to take a picture, unaware that Elsa was watching his every move. Next came the second course. Slowick explained that bread has existed in various forms for over 10,000 years and has always been humanity's most important staple, especially for the poor. To make people deeply appreciate the value of bread, he made a bold innovation. This dish was called breadless bread plate, featuring a few meticulously prepared sauces on the plate but no bread. Many guests thought Slowick was joking and started complaining. One corporate executive called Elsa over and said, "Do you know who we are? If you don't serve us bread, I can shut down your restaurant in no time." To their surprise, Elsa was not afraid at all and remained very firm. She then said something very strange to the executive.
"You will eat less than you desire and more than you deserve."
Meanwhile, the food critic, although she had never seen such a bizarre dish, carefully tasted the sauces and complained that some had already separated. Immediately, the restaurant staff brought her a large bowl of sauce, insisting she finish it all as it was Slowick's special care, leaving the critics stunned. On the other hand, Tyler continued to rave about the dish, thinking Slowick's idea was brilliant, savoring the sauces with relish, while Margo felt Slowick was insulting the guests and refused to eat. When Tyler accidentally knocked over a wine glass while lifting the plate, Elsa gestured for a waiter to replace it with a new one. At this moment, Slowick approached Margo and asked why she wasn't eating the dish.
Well, thank you for your concern, but I am perfectly capable of deciding when I eat and what.
With a forced smile, Slowick left after a brief conversation. He then stood next to his mother and told everyone a story. When he was 7, Slowick's father often abused his mother and once almost killed her. To stop his father, he grabbed the kitchen scissors and stabbed him hard in the thigh. The third dish was a steak with a knife sticking out of it. Called memory, Slowick deeply regretted his actions as a child.
I suppose I should have stabbed him in the throat that evening. But we're not so smart when we're young.
What happened next shocked everyone even more. Next to the steak was a stack of thin pancakes with each person's dark history laser-etched onto them. Leibrandt's pancake showed his extramarital affair. The corporate executive's pancake had records of his company's tax evasion. The Hollywood star's pancake displayed the poster of his worst movie. This revelation sent chills down everyone's spine. Who would have thought that dining at this high-end restaurant would involve such invasive investigations? Tyler had no major scandals, only a scene of him taking food photos etched on his pancake. Margo felt this was a serious invasion of privacy and decided to leave under the pretense of going to the bathroom. To her dismay, even the bathroom visit was closely monitored, and she was reminded not to approach the silver door. Having no choice but to go to the bathroom and light up a cigarette, Margo is surprised when Slowick pushes the door and bursts in. Margo was stunned. Slowick explained he meant no harm and only wanted to ask why she didn't eat the previous dish and if something was wrong with it. Realizing that opposing Slowick would lead to no good, Margo hastily returned to the table, saying she wasn't hungry. Meanwhile, the kitchen was ready with the fourth dish. A white cloth was laid on the floor with many green leaves as decoration. Slowick then called over Jeremy, introducing the dish created by him, called Predicament. Jeremy graduated from the Chicago Culinary Institute with a master's degree. Slowick kissed Jeremy's cheeks and signaled him to begin the next act. What happened next scared everyone to death. The crew removed the fabric covering the blood spatter, held a 3-second moment of silence over Jeremy's body, and then went back to work as if nothing had happened. After years of hard work, Jeremy finally achieved some success in cooking, but when he becomes a sous chef he realizes that Slowick, despite his success and glamour on the outside, is very lonely on the inside, and his vulgar customers can't appreciate his heart. So Jeremy's faith collapses and he's willing to give his life to show his plight. Upon hearing this, Leibrandt couldn't sit still and demanded to leave immediately, but Elsa told him there was no boat. Leibrandt said he could call for a helicopter, but Elsa informed him that there was no cell signal here. Elsa then asked which hand he would use to cope with the situation. Leaving the official bewildered, she suggested he use his left hand. With that, she ordered her subordinates to pin Leibrandt's left hand to the table and cut off his ring finger. As the ring fell, everyone was horrified, except Tyler, who was still savoring his meal. Margo couldn't hold back anymore. She confronted Slowick, asking why he was doing this. Instead of answering her, Slowick criticized her for taking someone else's place. Slowick explained that he had carefully selected all 12 guests, each for a specific reason, except Margo, who disrupted the perfection of tonight's menu. To proceed smoothly, Slowick gave Margo a choice: remain a guest or join the chefs.
In order to proceed, I have to know where to seat you.
And then you'll let me live?
That you live? No, we're all gonna die tonight. Isn't that right? Yes, chef! So,
he gave Margo 15 minutes to decide, after which she must provide an answer. During the intermission, the guests secretly plotted their escape but couldn't find a viable plan. Someone tried to break a window with a chair, only to discover the glass was bulletproof. Slowick approached Leibrandt and pointed out that he and his wife were regulars, having dined there 8 times. He challenged Leibrandt to name one dish they had previously eaten. Leibrandt stammered, unable to answer, despite his wife's frantic hints.
God.
what? Cod? It wasn't cod, you donkey. It was halibut. Rare spotted halibut.
Slowick expressed deep disappointment in Leibrandt. Slowick's pursuit of culinary perfection was extreme. However, Customers often came not to appreciate the essence of the cuisine but to satisfy their vanity, treating the restaurant as a trendy spot, which was the greatest insult to a chef. This was similar to the restaurant's angel investor, who, despite his wealth, did not understand the art of food and wanted to change Slowick's meticulously designed menu, making him Slowick's primary target. At this point, Margo's 15 minutes were up. To save her life, Margo chose to join the chefs without hesitation. For the 5th course, Slowick led all the guests outside the restaurant. This dish was created by another head chef, Catherine, who shared the inspiration behind it. 3 years ago, Slowick attempted to force himself on her but was rejected. A week later, he tried again but was refused once more. Instead of firing her, Slowick subjected her to months of cold violence, making her job incredibly oppressive. Today, Slowick gave her full authority to create this dish, named Man's Folly. She then pulled a pair of scissors from her pocket. Ending the grudge, Slowick yanked the scissors out of his thigh, offering each male guest a 45-second chance to escape as a gesture of remorse. After 45 seconds, the restaurant staff would hunt them down. Meanwhile, the women were taken back inside to taste the man's folly. Minutes later, the men were captured one by one. The island was surrounded by vast forests and rough seas, making escape impossible without tools. The last man caught was rewarded with a small cake. The guests returned to the restaurant, anticipating the final course. Slowick recognized Tyler as a true food enthusiast, understanding his expressions with each dish, so he decided to give Tyler a chance to survive. Slowick asked Tyler, since he claimed to be a pure food lover, if he could put on a chef's uniform and create a dish for Slowick to judge. Tyler looked a little flustered, and at Slowick's prompting, he opted for onions and shallots, which he paired with another highly creative piece of lamb chop. After a grueling 10 minutes, Tyler's creation was ready. Slowick took a serious bite. Slowick named the dish Tyler's bullshit. He told Tyler that people like him had drained the culinary art of its mystery. He then got close to Tyler's ear and said something that Tyler listened to and suddenly looked like he had lost his soul as he slowly stripped off his chef's costume and walked straight down the aisle to hang himself. The final course was imminent, but careless Elsa had prepared one less ingredient. Slowick assigned Margo, who had just joined the team, the task of fetching the ingredient. Margo found the iron barrel as instructed but saw a pair of scissors on top. Without hesitation, she took the scissors and left the warehouse. This was Margo's best chance to escape. Recalling Elsa's earlier words about the island, she wondered if Slowick's house held hidden secrets. She stealthily entered Slowick's villa, unaware that Elsa had been watching her every move from the shadows. As Margo approached the silver door, Elsa suddenly appeared from behind. This was a conflict Slowick had intentionally set up between the two. He had never mentioned the iron barrel to Elsa, so she thought Slowick intended to replace her with Margo. After a fierce struggle, Margo used her physical advantage to kill Elsa. She took a key from Elsa's body and successfully unlocked the silver door. The room was simple and plain, with a few photos on the wall. Margo discovered that Slowick was happiest not when he became famous or got married and had children, but when he made his first cheeseburger. At that moment, his face beamed with a pure and genuine happiness. Suddenly, Margo noticed a radio transmitter in the room. She quickly sent out a distress signal using various frequencies. To avoid arousing Slowick's suspicion, she nonchalantly carried the iron barrel back to the restaurant, hoping someone would soon receive the signal and come to their rescue. At that moment, Slowick was celebrating a guest's birthday and demonstrating his ability to extinguish candles with his bare hands. Suddenly, the sound of sirens filled the air, and Margo finally felt a sense of relief. Slowick realized that Margo might have discovered the radio but remained calm. He quickly instructed his staff to clean up the bloodstains, attempting to cover up their recent violent acts. When the rescue personnel arrived at the restaurant, the scene was completely cleaned, showing no signs of the previous chaos. The guests, terrified of Slowick's tactics, didn't dare to reveal the truth. As the rescuer, thinking it was a false alarm, was about to leave, he recognized the famous actor and mentioned he was a big fan. The actor, seizing the opportunity, offered to give him an autograph, writing "Save us" on the back of the signature. Upon seeing the distress message, the rescuer turned around and aimed his gun at Slowick. The guests, seeing this, stood up one after another to expose Slowick's crimes.
You, on your knees with your hands over your head now.
Finally, they saw a glimmer of hope for rescue. With Slowick kneeling on the ground, Everyone thanked God for giving them a chance at rebirth. However, what the rescuer did next was baffling.
No.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you. Good job.
It turned out that he was actually a restaurant employee playing a role, another part of Slowick's meticulously designed performance for the guests. At this point, everyone gave up on trying to survive, except for Margo, who remained rational. Suddenly, she thought of something and clapped her hands sharply, mimicking Slowick.
I don't like your food.
What did you say?
I said I don't like your food, and I would like to send it back.
Margo said that although each dish had a wonderful story, she couldn't feel the love in them. Even the hot dishes were served cold. She then expressed a simple wish. She wanted a genuine cheeseburger, asking if Slowick could fulfill her request.
I'll make you a very good, very traditional cheeseburger.
I don't think you can.
I'll make you feel as if you're eating the first cheeseburger you ever ate.
How much will that set me back?
$9.95.
Understanding their desire for a sense of recognition, she asked Slowick to make his best cheeseburger. After a careful preparation, Slowick personally served the cheeseburger to Margo, looking at her with hopeful eyes, eager for her feedback.
Now that is a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
For the first time in a while, Slowick smiled, rediscovering the joy of being a chef. Margo, not wanting to finish such a delicious burger in one go, asked if she could have it to go. Slowick agreed. Slowick handed the packed burger to Margo, and she placed $10 on the table. With a wink from Slowick to his man, Margo strides out of the restaurant with a determined stride. However, the others inside were not so lucky. Slowick led his staff in preparing the final course. They poured sauce on the table, sprinkled breadcrumbs, spread egg wash and batter on the floor, and dressed the guests in cotton candy coats and chocolate hats. This is the last item on the menu, called toasted marshmallow cookies. Slowick picked up a piece of burning coal with his bare hands, slowly walked to the center of the restaurant, and spoke his final words.
I love you all.
The coal ignited the alcohol, and the fierce flames quickly engulfed everyone, and the cooks turned on all the gas switches to meet death together. Meanwhile, Margo was already on a boat heading back to the mainland. As she reached the shore, she saw a massive fire erupting from the island. She took out the packed burger and started eating it. The movie ends here,